so I'm behind the curve on some things.
Oh, okay.
So just say at least Shama.
Okay. But that's going to be weird.
We can talk about it. We can talk about it in the show.
Okay. All right.
Inner visions come to me unbidden, twisting in my mind like a ribbon. I have to wonder why I've been given all these gifts if they won't listen. Face to the wind, Cassandra.
Larry's laughing. We can't do this show.
No, we can. Put your headphones on. We're going to roll right into it. It's warm in here. I got the AC on. You see I got my little Dyson on, but I can't turn it up past 2 or it'll get in the audio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm just going to keep my arms like this.
But so they can't see nothing. No.
I don't get that bad, but so I don't feel it. You know,
right,
if you're in hot water, if you don't move, or if cold water, you don't move, you stay.
I ain't never noticed that. She's saying, yep. All right, here we go.
Part 3.
Keep your composure.
Oh, you don't have to keep your composure. Just be yourself. Here we go. Hey, what's good, LBK? You heard that homemade hip hop playing, so you know that means it is time to focus. LBK. Today, I don't even know what episode this is. I don't know when it's going to come out, so we're not going to tag an episode right at the beginning, but we do have a special guest today. This is Shama, and we're going to leave it at Shama, and actually we'll say Shama for the interview. So we were laughing earlier because I was like, what do you want to say for the last name? She said, we want to explain it. I was like, oh, so for now you're going to be like Aaliyah and Cher and Madonna. You're going to be a one name woman, huh?
No, I'm changing that.
Oh, you changing it?
I'm dedicated to my husband, y'all.
Oh, word.
No, so we got married and all of our businesses were in my name. And in my mind, it was just way too much to go and change my name, again. And also I have like an American passport and an Israeli passport, and they both got 2 different last names too.
Oh, wow.
In Israel, I'm under my dad, and in America, I'm under my mom. And now that I'm married, that's another last name. And I'm just like, you know how something is bigger in your head than it is, in real life? Yeah. But I decided, to change it just to make things simple for my family. And also now that I'm a little bit more grown and more of a full giving wife, I want to do that for my husband. So I'll have to go through all the paperwork to change my name, which I will be doing. I'm putting this on air, so I'll be obligated.
Okay, all right.
I will be doing. You gonna put a date on it? For my birthday. That's my birthday gift to him. My birthday gift to him.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be Shama Ezer.
Shama
Ezer.
Ezer. E-Z-E-R?
Yeah.
Oh, Ezer. What kind of name is that? Is that a...
It's a Jewish name. Thank God he got a Hebrew name. Because, a lot of people be having them slave last names. Like both my mom and my dad's last name are both, slave owners. And I'm like, for one time I have a real last name. Yeah. And it means to help. Ezer is to help.
Okay. And you said Shama means God has given us.
My God has heard.
My God has heard. So heard the prayers of the parents, in other words.
Yep.
My God has heard. Man, so LBK, Shama is a business owner, an entrepreneur. It's got a lot of interesting things going on. We're going to talk about as much as we have time for. We ain't going to get too deep. We try to keep it about an hour, you know what I'm saying? But the one thing I do want to throw out there and get started with is you got a new business.
Yeah, buddy.
Over on 34th, and it's like it's a retail store that provides it's like a general store is what it looks like, or a home goods store.
It's mostly clothing. So name brand clothing at wholesale prices. The whole store almost is 1 for $8, 5 for $35.
Wow.
And then we have some items for like $2.99, but everything in our store is amazing quality. Like stuff that when you put in the wash, it ain't gonna shrink or change colors. Yeah. And almost everything in there is super soft, super great. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them what's the name and where is it located?
So the name of the store, currently, just like everything in our lives, is Anor Family Discount, but we're considering changing the name. Listen, Okay, let me put this stipulation out there. Okay, not maybe disclaimer, not stipulation.
Yeah.
We consider ourselves the business. And with us, we're first dedicated to our family and our family needs. And as much as we want to serve the public, if it contradicts our family needs, it's going to change.
Right.
Okay? With that being said, I think the most successful people with business are the ones that can change when a change needs to be made, no matter, what the outside is saying or thinking. And for us, we do online, we do eBay, we do live auctions, we do Facebook Market, and we do in-store. But the other thing that we want to add to it is wholesale. We buy this stuff cheap enough to where we could do wholesale. And we always wanted a place that people could just come in and get anything for super cheap. And so even though it's starting with clothing, and we started with a Nor family discount. But for us, we wanted to be an outlet where people come for anything. So, and this all might change because, again, we go with the flow. But, in our minds, we're like, okay, we got 5,000 square feet. It don't have to be just dedicated to clothing. It can be, we can add a little cafeteria in there. We can have other vendors in there. We can, we sell some home goods, and then we also, another part of it that's not in the store is we do vintage stuff.
Yeah.
Because we started up this whole business with storage auctions.
Okay.
And so people are super into vintage stuff. But to keep our lives simple and easy, we started just with the new clothing in the store.
Okay. And when you say keep our lives easy, you started with, is that here in Lubbock? Because it looks to me like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had the same store or similar store up in Oregon.
Yeah. So
and why did you come? Tell us about the Oregon then. Why did you come to Lubbock?
Okay, so we did have a similar store in Oregon, and we also started there with brand new clothing. And then later we introduced the vintage stuff or pre-owned stuff because, when you do storages, you get like dishes and dishwasher, you get all sorts of stuff from the household. So later on, we introduced those things, and those things actually helped to get people in the store. Because you do Facebook Market, you put dishes, somebody gonna come in. You put, suitcases, chairs, tables, everybody gonna come in. So when they come for that item, they see the rest of the store. So it's a way to advertise by making money instead of advertising with money.
Yeah.
And still get them to come in, see the store. And even if they don't buy, they're for sure gonna tell somebody.
Right.
Because it's for the first time we have a business that people actually, when they see it, they always come back.
Right.
It's not one of those where you come and that's it.
Yeah. I'm already curious to peep it out. You say the grand opening is tomorrow, right? The 24th. Or I say tomorrow. This won't be airing on the 24th, but the grand opening is the 24th of April.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go check it out because just because we like stuff like who don't like stuff like that? That's my question. I think everybody kind of like to look
even
at
if
stuff.
you don't like it though.
Yeah.
People need it.
Yeah.
Right. It also feeds the want, but it feeds the need as well. Like one thing that I was very proud of is being able to like give back to the community where it doesn't hurt me. So because I buy stuff on such a grand scale, we get truckloads.
Oh wow.
There's a lot of stuff because it's just me and my husband working. We don't have time to go through everything.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's easier to take the stuff that we know we don't have time for and donate it to a homeless shelter or, donate to the schools or stuff like that. But even if we're not donating, we're so cheap to where these people come and buy from us anyway.
Yeah. So say that name again, a Nor family discount.
A Nor family discount. But if you want to stay updated with us, because you will want to, just follow our social media. I'm never going to change that just because I know everything else changes. Our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is Anor, ANNOR LLC 123. That's going to stay that forever. Okay, so follow us and you will figure out everything.
Mm-hmm. And did I ask you what a Nor means?
So a Nor is actually a combination of both of my girls' names, the end of their names. So I have Lenore, which means my light, and then I have Leon, which is a blossoming lotus that means like endurance and things like that. I built this business for 3 reasons. One, my husband always wanted to sell clothing, more specific socks and leggings. He said people always need socks and they always need leggings.
Need some socks right now while you
Right? See, me too. 2, I'm a long-term planner, you know. I may lack sometimes with the short-term stuff, but the long-term, I want, when my kids get old enough, for something to be theirs.
Yeah.
And I already had another business that, you know, was doing good. And so this to me was my building them their own legacy. Whether they want it or don't want it when they graduate, they could sell it, they could keep it, whatever they want. I wanted to build something that's theirs. And then I also wanted a new tax write-off because I was making too much money on my old business.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Most people create their business when they're already like knee deep in it,
Yeah.
you know?
Uh-huh.
And then they can't write nothing off.
Yeah.
But while you thinking about this stuff, while you going out to eat, you know, and you talking about this, while you driving to this person and talking to this person, that's all business,
Yeah.
you know, business things that you're doing towards this business that is not yet on paper. But as soon as you put it on paper, now you can write all of these things off. Okay, so we doing all this stuff anyway. Why not, you know, use the system for it?
Right.
So those are my 3 reasons for that.
I got a question that I didn't even think about when I was prepping for this interview, but just listen to you talk right now. Are you going to do any kind of entrepreneurial classes?
I actually am a mentor.
Okay.
And I take people who are very motivated to either enhance their lives, change their lives, you know, just they're really motivated to make changes for the better. And when I say motivated, I'm not talking about just your thinking. You got to be ready to, you know, put in the steps.
Yeah.
So between like starting a business, building your business, or like enhancing your business and keeping work-life balance. So all of that between your family, you know, how you talk to family, how you talk to customers, how you think, how you keep yourself motivated, you know. So I help with all of those things. But for my birthday this year, I actually am going to, my plan is to host, I have a saying that is party with intention.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those that could, you know, that just go and party. I'm one of those that if I drink, my brain is straight on, you know, on business.
Right.
And so I'm going to connect with people on that as well. So every time when I have a birthday, I typically try to have people around that are trying to do the same thing, you know? And so this year, I told you I moved to almost 8 acres. Eventually, I want this place to be like a, what do you call it? Like a resort.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is a few years down the line. Who
Right.
knows what could change, but that's my vision.
Right.
Is to make this place a resort where people could come and learn, you know, either business or life balance or relax, you know, just something to make you better. You know, because I'm not only great with business, but family is important to me. Relaxation is important to me. I'm a vegetarian. I'm closer to vegan, but when it comes to diet and everything, I'm so good with that. For the first time in my life, I'm so in tune with my body. Is, you know, it's amazing when you get that in tune with your body, where you know, like you don't even have to go to a chiropractor,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
or you eat something, you automatically know that this is not good for you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of launched into the interview kind of full stride, but let's rewind a little bit. Let's take it back. Tell me a little bit about yourself, because I think we've touched on the fact that you are originally from Israel.
Yes.
So talk about that. What is it? How are you originally from Israel, and then what is Israel like? What's some things you miss about Israel?
So I was born and raised in a city called Dimona, which is like southern part of Israel. And I come from a community called the Hebrew Israelites.
Okay.
They originally left America in 1967. and my grandfather is he was like the right hand man of the leader there.
Okay.
The leader passed away, so now the leadership is a little bit different.
Right.
But my grandfather is pretty big in there. My grandmother was she was one of the people who invented the vegan diet for them. Our family in this community was the only actual Jews.
Right.
No, like, it's a bunch of African Americans who left America to come to Israel.
Yeah.
But my family, my mother specifically, because Judaism comes from the mother, blood-wise,
Yeah.
was the only Jew in this community. So we were the light-skinned people.
Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah.
And, I mean, everybody has their different version of this community. I feel like it did a lot of great things for me as far as teaching me respect for others, as far as the diet, as far as respect for God.
Right.
Which took me a long time to come back to. It came right before I moved to Lubbock, the whole spirituality part of it.
Right.
But yeah, so I left Israel when I was 19.
Okay.
I was supposed to do the military. I didn't end up doing the military. It was a very religious community. And as much as it was a lot of great things about it, for me, it was in my head really hard to see myself there forever because it really is not that easy being black in Israel.
I'm glad you touched on that because that's what I was one of my questions I was getting ready to ask because I've never been there, but I'm a historian and I read a lot, and I follow the news. I'm a former intelligence analyst, and I always wondered. From what I understood, I thought Israel was an apartheid society.
Yeah. So again, today is a little bit different or a lot different than when I grew up.
Right. Worse or better?
And I think it might be better for black people and having more, I ain't gonna say black people, okay?
Right.
Because there's still like, there's the Sudanese who came over and
Yeah.
they're refugees. Their life isn't that much better, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh man, we're about to get deep in this.
Yeah.
So I can say that for my family, compared to the rest of the Hebrew Israelites in Israel, it may have been easier because we had family outside of the community. And when you have family outside of the community, and when your mother, like my mother was raised, in a Jewish, European, background. Mm-hmm. And so I think the things that we learned and the confidence and the not being scared of white people, it was different. Mm-hmm. And my grandmother is white too from my mom's side.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you're born and you're raised with a different mindset. Like you're not, those same fears are not put as deeply in us. I mean, they're put in there, but not as deeply as I would say my peers.
What are some of those fears you're talking about?
Oh, they're not going to hire me because I'm black.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't like me just because I'm black.
Yeah.
Or what if the cops pull me up? Don't get me, the cops one, I'm much less fearful of that than I was back in the day. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of fears did prevent you from taking those steps to really be big in life.
Yeah. Fear.
Yeah.
I'm glad you touched on that. And it's funny to me. It's not funny. It's interesting that you came straight up out and said you weren't afraid of white people. I have, that's something that I've thought about myself over the years growing up. And I am glad that I grew up in Lubbock with its, 6.5%, 7% black people, percent of the population. I went to Hardwick Elementary, which is on the west side of town, which whole elementary school, let me see, it was probably me, my homeboy Rashid, Nathaniel Cage and his brothers, Eventually my cousin. So in other words, it was a handful of black folks in that school. Matter of fact, Mrs. Green, the lady that owns this building, she was that's how I knew her when I came back home. She was my fourth grade teacher at Hardwick. Yeah. So I said all that to say that is something that I have thought deeply within myself over the years. I'm glad I went to a predominantly white school. Why? Because it gave me the insight that white people ain't nothing special. When I was there, I was always one of the smartest people in my class, regardless of anybody's color.
Same.
I was always the toughest dude in my class. You can't whoop me. I can whoop you. Can't whoop you. That was Melvin Namwadi. He was a tough little dude, little African dude. I was like, oh, he's pretty tough. I can't whoop him. Everybody else I could whoop. Anybody at PT, PE they call it. I was faster than everybody almost, could jump for. I was like, man, you know what? I'm pretty high up in whatever I do. And that is something that has influenced my outlook on life and my feeling about things. So you have a YouTube channel, and on one of your videos in there, you was talking about how you feel like I'm paraphrasing, but you feel like a champion. You feel like, and that's how I feel. I feel like I'm finna win. I feel like
all the time.
Wherever I walk in, any building I walk in, I look around, I'm finna. I'm finna win.
When you leave, ain't nobody gonna forget you.
Right.
Never. I was watching one of this Kevin Hart. He has I think it's called Heart to Heart.
Yeah.
A documentary, and I was watching one of his. I don't remember who he was interviewing, but he was talking about either you have it or you don't. Meaning that, when I was telling my kid this, I said, people who are special or who are going to be something in life, they know that from a young age. You don't just wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm going to be the president.
Yeah.
It's been in you from the beginning, and it just grows and grows and grows, and you have to do something about it.
Yeah. What is that? What is that? That thing that's in you that you recognize, other people recognize it. Sometimes I think with me, my biggest thing is having faith that what you see is real. That thing that you see or feel, it's like the word charisma. It's a gift from God. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely think it's a gift. So I'm so much more spiritual today than I ever been in my entire life. I can't even say religious, because I feel like with spiritual, again, it's just something that's just a part of you. Whereas religion, I feel like you're a part of.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so for me, I've always had this gift of, I could wear all black, my hair in a ponytail, and if I don't show up to work, everybody know I ain't show up to work.
Right.
I'm one of those people. It don't matter how quiet I am. If I'm in the building or if I'm not in the building, But the moment you recognize that you have that gift and you start paying attention to how to use it, what it does, how to use it, how you best get the best out of it and be able to do stuff for other people with it. I feel like you're unstoppable at that point. The only thing really in your way is you. I mean, we always know that. But you start getting less and less in your way.
Yeah.
The more the less you get in your own way.
Yeah. That's one of the things that what you said stood out. It just jumped out. And you said you're not scared of white people. And when I asked you what some of those things were you were facing in Israel, some of those things that are inculcated within you, that fear.
Yeah.
So I see that a lot and hear it a lot in Lubbock.
Me too.
And what it is I'm coming to the realization slowly. First of all, Lubbock is an island. We literally are an island. There's nothing around us. But also, we're black people in Lubbock are an island on an island.
I noticed that. You
know what I'm saying? And I feel like, I could be wrong, but my observation is we feel like we are always outnumbered and always outgunned. That old saying's a book, I think, from back in the 60s. Always outnumbered, always outgunned. To me, it seemed like black people in Lubbock, not every black person in Lubbock, y'all know what I'm talking about. Many black people in Lubbock have that same mentality. Because I hear people all the time say stuff like, "Oh, they ain't gonna let us do." Who is they, and how they gonna let us?
Exactly.
Don't nobody let me do nothing.
So, I think being spiritual and being more in tune with myself, it also like made me more humble and more observant. And this change has been very drastic, because when I first came here, let me tell you, okay. Yes, I'm black. Yes, I'm white. But in my mind, that internal core is like, oh, I got to find my black people. Okay? When I saw my house was right under the East, where everybody is afraid of, you know, I was like, yes. These are the people that need my stuff. These are the people that I want to help. You know, these are the people that, like, I got my black people.
Yeah.
I took my kids to the black park. I took my kids to the black library. I took them to all of this stuff, and nobody talked to them.
Huh.
And that, like, man, that hurt my heart.
You think it was because of their complexion? Or
so this is where
accent?
I say I'm humbled. Because initially, my reaction was upset. It was hurt. It was a protective mama bear.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know, I'm sorry for this, but F y'all.
Right.
I'm so proud of myself because I am in cursing in this whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
got a potty mouth. But that was my first reaction. And then I was talking to my grandmother in Israel. And I was asking her to come out to see my, you know, I'm like, I got enough land for my whole family to live here.
Yeah.
And she said, why would I ever come back to the place, especially Texas, where they lynched us, where, you know, like she lived through that. And for a long time, I didn't understand because I never felt it on my own skin. Okay? You asked me, you didn't really get to dig in. You asked me why I moved to Lubbock.
Yeah.
I have a lot of reasons, but the trigger was the war breaking out in Israel on October 7th.
Okay.
On October 7th, they massacred so many kids at this concert. And then they went into all of these homes and they massacred whole families. Then they kidnapped whole families. It wasn't enough that they did all of this, but they showed all the videos. This is the first time in my entire Israeli life that it was that close to my home. And my home was like a bubble because it's in the South. Nobody comes to the South, you know?
Yeah.
But they came in and they scattered throughout the whole Israel.
Right.
And when I saw these videos and stuff, I'm very, very sensitive to things that I see and things that I feel, that it made me paralyzed. Because I typically live in a bubble, you know, that, you know, my happy la la land bubble, and I'm so okay living there. But it was a switch that went off that for real evil exists. I forget. I wasn't scared of white people.
Right.
I wasn't really scared of black people. But evil really does exist.
Yeah.
You know? And for a long time I forget. Even though I was homeless before, even though I ran into evil back in the day, but I've been living in this successful, happy-go-lucky bubble that I forget. But when I went through this experience and my grandmother told me that, it finally clicked and it humbled me to somewhat understand the people here. There was my pest control guy. I was telling him about how, because he was the first black person I actually talked to.
Was he tall and skinny?
Yes.
5'10", close haircut?
He got the same guy.
What's his? You don't remember his name, do you?
I don't, but he was so awesome. But he told me, he said this was one of the, I think he said, and listen, I'm not good at repeating stuff. I make stories up all the time.
Yeah.
But my brain remembers that Lubbock was one of the last places where the segregation ended. It didn't end so long ago.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And when people suffer that much, or when they're so used to being treated a certain kind of way, you're always up with your guard up. And it's hard to just forget that. Does that make sense? I never experienced it firsthand.
Yeah.
I mean, I experienced racism in Israel, but I made a full decision in my mind and in my heart that, like, fuck that. Sorry, I tried real hard not to.
Yeah, we don't cuss on the show, but that's cool.
You can cut that
yeah,
one out.
we'll cut it out.
But I was like, I refuse to let somebody tell me how my life is gonna end. From working for somebody to somebody tell me what to do in my house.
Yeah.
You know, like, to being stuck in the community, you know, like, I refuse. But when my grandmother said that to me, it finally clicked about the people here and why it's so hard. On the other hand, though, with all the humbleness and everything, I got to protect my kids first.
Right.
And I got to make sure my kids don't end up stuck. You know?
Yeah.
And so I still when you chase after only one people trying to be accepted, that kills your confidence. That kills your moves, because now you can't move without, you know, somebody's approval. It stops your growth. And so I have to continue to, like, I had to get out of this whole concept of I'm looking for my people.
Yeah.
To remembering that my people is anybody who does good by me and my family.
Word on that. And that's man, there's a lot to be said for a lot of the stuff you just said.
Yeah, I feel like
now,
I just said so much.
You said a lot, but let me ask you this before I ask another question though. So when you decided to come to Lubbock, why Texas and why Lubbock in specific? Because that's a long way from Portland, Oregon.
Oh yeah, we looked all over the American map.
Right.
And
you chose Lubbock.
Yep. First we were looking at, one, we had a list of things. We wanted unrestricted land.
Yep.
And we wanted a lot of it.
Yep.
And we wanted low income housing. We knew that we could, you know, like, we'll be okay even if we went to expensive.
Yeah.
But what's the point of leaving this expensive lifestyle and going to another expensive lifestyle? Because we had a store, we had our house, so we had all of these expenses going outward, and we needed to change it around where, you know, like, it's all coming back in. And the best way to do that was to have a big piece of land where we could do everything on it. Okay, so we wanted to make sure that the land was unrestricted, that the cost of the housing was still pretty cheap.
Yep.
My daughter is a gymnast, and she says she's going to the Olympics.
Okay.
So I had to make sure that she could do gymnastics.
Yep.
But I also wanted a small town feel.
Yep.
Because I'm officially done with the rat race.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. And it's not, when I say rat race, I'm not talking about just working for somebody else. I'm talking about being stuck in traffic.
Yep.
I'm talking about wasting my time.
Yeah.
On stuff that do not matter.
Yeah.
You know, and I prayed before I got here. I'm like, God, I just help me unify my family. That was my biggest prayer. But the other thing was, Lubbock is one of the fastest growing cities in Texas. And compared to all the other cities in Texas, the price is still really cheap here.
Yep.
And so we were like, okay, it's between Amarillo and Lubbock.
Yeah.
Amarillo reminded me of Portland, the city of Portland, that was already like, boom, you know?
Yeah.
And then like Hillsborough, the city I was in, was finally growing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you buy a house now, it's going to be worth way more. Whereas if you buy a house in Amarillo, you know, how much is it really going to grow?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just talking about housing, but for us, like, we're business people, so we're thinking housing. We're thinking our store. I didn't see too many stores like ours here. So even if other stores open up, you know, in so many years, we have that much time put into it that people recognize us a lot more. But, and being a Jew, and I never, ever really, like, it never clicked in my head that I was a real Jew.
Right.
You know? Until, I mean, blood I knew. But wanting to be with my Jewish people, that was never a thing until the war happened. And it made me want to be with my people. But more than anything, it made me want to be with people who didn't make assumptions and want to be a part of decision making on something that's huge that impact people's lives, and they never even been to Israel. So in Portland, it's more of a democratic state.
Yeah.
And everywhere we went, there were signs, pro-Palestine signs. You know, and some of these signs were just so ignorant. And for me, it was really big. My kids can now read.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And I could stand my La La Land. But if my kids are reading it,
right,
I can't really stand my La La Land, you know?
Yeah.
And it had me to the point where this church right next door to our store had all these little kids. You could tell little kids did it. Made all these pro-Palestine signs. And I ignored it. But then my kids was reading it. My husband was reading it. And it just, within a second, I almost blacked out, you know, and just like stormed inside of this church to go off, right? But what stopped me was like, okay, these are kids who have parents. And if I say something to one person, how is it impacting all of them? You get what I mean? And then it hit me that the only real change I could do is if I'm talking to the person who's teaching these people. Does that make sense? So Texas is Republican. I never, ever saw myself as Democrat, Republican. I don't even give a damn about none of that. But it was very important for me, for my kids to feel safe. And everybody tried to scare me about, you know, coming out here and black people like this and white people and this and that. And I'm like, I am Jewish too.
Right.
I am living racism every day here. You know, like my kids had to see this. When the threat went out to around that time, it was like a couple days later, there was a threat that went out saying, you know, all Arabs go attack any Jews, you know. I was for real scared. You know, I was scared for me. I was scared for my kids. I had dealers. Okay, I have a locksmith business. I had dealers, car dealers who are Arabs, you know, who I do business with. I have coworkers who are Arabs. And with war, everybody is hurting on both sides. So in my head, I'm in panic. I'm like, okay, how many of these people are really my friends? Do I have to worry about these people showing up to my house? I mean, in my heart, I want to believe that I'm that cool of a person that they would never. And thank God. Whew, thank you, God. They didn't.
Okay.
And they actually still love me.
Right.
But I wanted to be someplace where I knew my kids would be okay and they never have to worry about not being themselves.
Was a state that embraces the Second Amendment important to be in then with that feeling safe, or was that not a thought?
Can you repeat that?
So you said you wanted to be in a place where you felt safe, especially for your kids, but was the Second Amendment, was that part of your calculations? Because Oregon, as far as I know, I don't know if they honor the Second Amendment the way we do in Texas, you know?
You're going to have to tell me what the Second Amendment is.
Oh, the right to keep and bear arms.
Oh, people have, they carry guns around there, but I think it's different than here. You don't just see people walking around with guns. Like, they go hunting. Everybody have guns.
Right.
But it's not like here. This is a whole different level of guns here.
Yeah. That's, it's
but
funny.
I'm damn good at guns.
Oh, yeah. How'd you get so good at it?
When I was 18, they make, if you're Israeli.
Oh, you went to mandatory military training.
Well, they have a week before you graduate high school.
Okay.
Where you go to like a pre-training.
Gotcha.
To, you know, prepare you mentally for the military.
Gotcha.
And when I was there, you know, they had us shooting and stuff.
Yeah.
And then every like year, I would go shooting with people in Oregon, and I would forget how good I am.
Yeah.
But then I would use a gun and, you know, hit the target spot on, close or far back, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm still good.
Interesting. We, my family and I were a military family, and I left Lubbock in 97, I think it was, 96 or 97. Grew up here, but left in the 90s, and we just got back about 3 years ago. And like you say, one of the reasons we came back, I never thought, we knew we would come back to Texas. But we didn't know. I really wasn't thinking about little LBK.
Yeah.
Because it's your hometown. You know, when you 18, you're like, oh, I gotta go somewhere. I gotta do this. But there's a different calculation you make when you're 18 versus when you're 50 and you got a family and you're like, so we came back, I think it was 2020 before my little brother's wedding. And we was riding around like, I forgot it only take 15 minutes to get anywhere.
How good does that feel?
Oh, see, this is what people that live here that ain't never been nowhere don't understand. When we lived in D.C. and Baltimore and all that stuff, you can't do nothing in 15. You can't walk to your car in the driveway in 15. I'm exaggerating slightly. But it take you 15 minutes to start the car up. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going nowhere in 15. You're not even getting out your neighborhood in 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
How you going to be cross town in 15 minutes here? My commute after I got out the military, when I retired, I was working in Virginia, living in Maryland. That sounds weird, but it's common because the whole area ain't but that big.
Yeah.
I think I did a calculation one time on a back of napkin. It ain't scientific, but I was thinking, I don't think this whole area is as big as Houston.
Yeah.
I'm talking about D.C., Maryland, Virginia, DMV. I was like, I think Houston is bigger than this whole area. But to get to my job, which was 65 miles away, that was a common commute. That wasn't nothing.
Man.
That wasn't nothing. I knew everybody.
Like Arizona.
Half the people I knew did it. It would be an hour and 15 in the morning, which is almost right. But it would be like 3.5 to 5, or 3.5 to 4.5 hours in the afternoon.
Don't you feel like I learned that time is your biggest commodity?
It is.
It ain't money.
You don't know how much time you got left.
It ain't money. By the time you go to work, be there for your 8 hours, drive back home, just that drive alone,
kills
bumper
you.
to bumper. Think
Not
about the
moving.
mental, is killing your brain. Even if you in quiet, it's just. I saw this on Instagram the other day. This guy said, you can't say God and rushing in the same sentence. It don't work.
A meme that I saw that reminds me of that. We're talking about in general. I can't remember all the ways he broke it down. I could pull it up on my phone, but he say, "There's no such thing as spare time. There's no such thing as free time. Making time." He went down a long list of all these things we say in time. There's extra time, spare time, free time. He said, no. It's all lifetime.
Right.
There's no such thing as any of those things. It's lifetime. Now go live. And that's what I realized in D.C., and then that's what made us come back to Lubbock. When we came back in 2020, then 2021, my other little brother got married. So we came back for that wedding too. And me and my wife riding, man, we looking at the house prices.
Right.
I say, that's what I say, babe, you think this might be the place, man? We might come back to Lubbock. What you think? She's like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, I can't believe I just said that. I cannot believe I just said we're gonna come back to Lubbock. Because we lived in San Antonio. That's dope. Houston is dope. She from Houston. Houston dope. I ain't too much on Big D. I ain't gonna diss them, but whatever. Y'all do y'all. Waco is dope. We just came back from Waco. Waco dope. We came back to Lubbock because it's a good little place.
Yeah, everything you need.
Everything you need. That's what I always say. It's got at least one of everything you need.
Let me ask you. Do you feel like what made you, outside of going to school with all the white people and stuff, being able to leave Lubbock and come back, it made you see things, it made you even more fearless to make steps or make moves to make you more successful?
Perhaps so. I think when we went to Maryland, so my dad was in the military back in the day, in the 60s, and he got stationed in Maryland and met my mom up there. And so when we went up there, I met that whole side of my family for the first time as an adult. And one of the things that I was inspired by, that gentleman right there on that picture, that's my grandpa, who I look like. I'm darker than him, so we don't know. He was an orphan, so he's had a lot of white in him, but we don't know exactly what it was. But what I got inspired by that kind of bolstered my natural fearlessness was back in the 40s, this cat was an orphan, born in 1911. Mom died. That's his earliest memories. The lady he thinks was his mom dying. getting sent to a brother's house in Georgia. Next thing you know, he's in Philly at an orphanage. Ran away from that, joined the Merchant Marine, came back, was working as a mechanic on the military base up there, started his own company. Him and his homeboy moved their houses off base. I don't know how you move your house, but they didn't get a company. They moved their houses off base. I'm like, what? I say, he a bad man. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things right there. Learning about that part of my family and just in general. I think that right there combined with seeing the world a little bit, moving around and realizing, man, first of all, in my life experience, ain't nobody studying about you being black unless you act a fool.
I mean, there's always stupid people.
Right. It's always going to be one or two. But in general, don't nobody care. Unless you care.
That's what I realized. The moment I started caring, everybody else cared. And it was before I came out here. I honestly, the one thing that, I'll put this out there, the one thing that I was a little bit, I guess, I wouldn't say, maybe a little bit nervous, was talking about this whole black thing. Because I know how I see things is different.
Oh, yeah.
And for the first time, I live in a place where there's a lot of black people, you know, since being in the U.S.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure I don't disrespect how, because people feel how they feel for reasons, you know?
Yeah.
This is just my own point of view. But before I came out here, everybody tried to warn me about the whole racism and this and that. And my kids are in one of the Cooper schools. Before the school even opened up, I went to the school. I met the principal. I made sure she knew who I was. I met the cast. You know, the staff. I met the staff.
Well, life is a stage, and we're all actors on it. You know what I'm saying?
I joined the PTO.
Okay.
All of this is for my kids, for myself to feel, you know, to know my kids are secure, but also business strategy too.
Yeah.
Why not? It's all networking, you know.
Of course.
But I needed to quiet down those fears, you know, that were put in me because they weren't there when I first thought of Lubbock.
Right.
And the one thing that me and my husband, we spent many nights before we came here, because 6 months it took us to find the right house out here. We bought the house without even looking at it, physically.
Yeah, we did too, actually.
But
we saw it online, but
we lucked out.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we talked about was like, let's say I'm at a red light and a white person passed me up, right? For me, my mind goes to, damn, this person just stupid as hell. What is he doing? He's reckless. But there's a lot of other black people that if something like that happens, it's like, I mean, this is probably a bad example. Oh, he's only doing that because I'm black. Or,
what do you mean, pass you up at the red light?
Let me use a different example because that wasn't a good one.
Okay.
If the cop pulls me over, right?
Yeah.
The first thought in a lot of black people's head is because I'm black.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For me, my mind doesn't go there. If it actually happens, I'm bruised. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm hurt because, you know, I'm in this la-la land. But my mind doesn't even go there. So much so, I can give you an example. I got pulled over when we first opened our store in Oregon. And the cop came and he's, you know, talking to me. And before he could even get through with his sentence, I asked him, I said, "You live out here?" And he's like, "No, I don't." I was like, "Oh, damn, you can't help me." And he said, what's going on? What you need help with? And I said, "Oh, I just opened a store out here. I wanted to see what's the best way to get the word out about my store, you know, and I figured you a cop. You run into a lot of people, you would know."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, but I can't help you." And then it clicked to me that I was pulled over.
Yeah.
You know, after all of this, it clicked to me that I was pulled over. This is a cop. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead."
What
I
was you about to do?
What was you about to do? And He said, you know, when you turned, you get into the second lane, not the first one.
Yeah.
And that's illegal.
Yeah.
But I'm going to just let you off with a warning.
Right. And he probably did that because he saw you was cool. You wasn't even making it about nothing. You asking a question and then, oh, well, I'm sorry. Actually, we're in a trap. If you'd have came with some kind of weird attitude.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, our energy changes the whole scenario.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there aren't any bad cops out there.
Of course there are.
But
it's bad everything.
Compared to how many good cops that I've run into, like I'm talking about, like I remember passed out on the side of the road because I was so tired. I had my baby in the back, and a cop knocked on my door and was like, "You okay?" I said, "I'm just so tired," you know. And he followed me home to make sure that I was safe because he was like, this is less safe being on the freeway,
right, yeah.
you know? So like compared to I've had one bad experience, and even that, if I really think about it, the person who was with me had a bad attitude and was argumentative, you know?
That's been my experience. And again, you have to say this. I'm not saying there ain't no bad cops. I'm not saying that some people aren't racist. Some people do look at race, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, I'm 50 years old and I've been coast to coast in the United States, and I have never had any kind of bad experience with a cop. And every time I've been pulled over, I ain't gonna lie, I like to skate when I drive. I like,
that was my biggest problem.
I like to skate. So of course when I get pulled over, it's because I'm skating. I feel like, I shouldn't say this on air, but I feel like speed limits are suggestions of the lowest
out here,
the lowest end you could try. Well, I'm having to change my estimation of things because I just got a ticket the other day. And I'm like, oh. But to me,
change because my kids.
I just feel like it's a 55. That's the minimum you can go, and we prefer if you go 55. I'm gonna do 65 anyway, if not 75. You don't mess with me, depending on what the road look like. If I feel comfortable, I'm skating. But I say all that to say I'm kind of joking, kind of not. I just have never. I've never had a run in with a cop that was like, oh, you doing something because I'm black. I've had a lot of run-ins. Also, I've had a little bit of training in the military about how cops think. And I've also, years ago, I applied for the police department here. So I studied a little bit. I know generally what police do and how they think.
Yeah.
Most of the time, cops are trying to raise revenue. They trying to get somebody and get a ticket. They looking for they sharks. They hunting. Like you say, turning in the wrong lane, that is not that big a deal if there's no traffic.
Right.
So pulling you over for that, he just want a ticket. But when you see you cool, half the time they be like, all right, just be cool, man. You know, take it down. I'm gonna give you a warning. I mean, it's like 90% of everything in my life that life has shown me, it's all your attitude. It really is. For me, that's what I've seen.
Same.
And I think some people look for reasons to that attitude of, oh, they ain't gonna let us do this. Oh, you know why they pulled you over? Well, I know why they pulled me over because I was speeding.
People too, like if we be real, what are they doing with themselves?
This is what I'm talking about. You're looking for a crutch and an excuse to prove why you haven't done something. This is preventing me. I can't. They won't let me. And to this day I still like, who is they?
You know, when I think we touched a little bit on how when I first came out here, me and my 3 sisters, we were homeless.
No, we didn't touch on that. I don't think. I saw it on your YouTube though. I was gonna get into that. So please.
Yeah.
You came to Oregon, right? When you first got.
We came to Seattle, Washington.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and we were with my uncle for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And after 2 weeks, he kicked us out. I really believe that he kicked us out. One, because America's as much as it's easier to be successful, it really, in a lot of places, is every man for themselves. And he went from him, his wife, and his kid to him, his wife, his kid, and 4 girls.
Yeah.
Who don't have no job, no American experience, don't know how to get a job.
Yeah.
You know, that was one part of it. The other part of he was a boxer and had mental issues. Like,
oh, okay.
So I couldn't help that part. I mean,
Right.
I always try to see like why things happen the way they happen. Anyhow, thankfully, before he kicked us out, we ran into a drug dealer and his friend.
Yeah.
And when he kicked us out, those are people we called.
Okay.
So we were homeless as far as not having a house But these people helped us maneuver. They helped us get our social securities, our IDs. We were staying in like this crackhead house for him in exchange, giving him, crack. But during this time, right, in hindsight, we were chased a lot by the cops whenever we were in a car with them.
Right, of course.
And what I realized is these cops know exactly who these people are. They chase them all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm going to tell two different stories to make my point.
Mm-hmm.
When I was, so chased all the time, right? And then I remember they would throw the crack out right before they got, pulled over. That way if they got pulled over, they only got a ticket for speeding.
Yeah.
Not for drug carrying and stuff too.
Yeah.
When I was, I gotta remember where I was going with this. Hold on.
With the attitude and the people and the cops focusing on them because they knew who they were. And
So when I was in, God, I lost my whole point with that. Anyway, them knowing who these people are, they typically, look for these people.
Right.
When I was in Arizona, I owned a barber shop there. And one of my customers, who I really liked, he got killed by the police. And their story is that he was carrying drugs or something. They tried to get in or whatever. And then they put all of these, we marched for him. Okay. But later on, I started thinking about it. I remember being in Atlanta, sitting in my car in a dark neighborhood, and a black person walked by with a hoodie on. What's the first thing I did?
What?
Locked my doors.
Yeah.
Okay, now think about this concept. A lot of cops are fat and out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
Really look around. A lot of cops look like they so out of shape. Okay? They might not be, but that's my perception. Then on top of that, in their head already it's been drilled that these people are dangerous. I'm black and I locked my doors. And I felt so embarrassed. Like, should I be embarrassed that I did that because of a black person?
No.
You
have eyes.
So I locked my doors. But then add the fact that a lot of these cops chase the same people over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And let's assume that there's bad cops, but there's mostly good cops. Right?
Yep.
If you're a good cop, don't you want to get this stuff off the street?
Yep.
And you might not have the greatest training because let's be real about this. The system here is not set up properly. The system with a lot of the system is not set up so well to where the cops have what they need, to where they get the training that they get, to where they actually are forced to work out, be able to run instead of use their gun.
Yeah.
But intuition wise, in my mind, if you haven't been in the military in some real life, life or death situation where you know how to maneuver without killing people to do what you need to do, your first instinct is to pull out your gun and shoot.
Yeah. Well, that's a common thought too. Me and my homeboys, me and my dad, we've all discussed that. Most cops, when you look at them, especially when I was younger and in better shape myself, you look at them like, really? Of course you scared. I know you scared. But then again, they have a reason to be scared. Because have you ever looked at some of the body cam footage? A simple traffic stop that looked like a everyday, hey, what's up, man? I'm just going to give you a ticket. Next thing you know, he busting a shotgun at you. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, what? How are you pulling a shotgun? I was watching something like that the other day. So I say all that to say, yeah, cops have a hard job. People don't realize that. I do sympathize with them a little bit.
But hurt people.
Hurt people.
If everybody is walking around with this defense mechanism, both the passenger and the police,
it's fraught with tension.
Yeah, it's bound to go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every traffic stop that I've ever been in has been, I won't say cordial, but professional. It's never been any kind of bullcorn on their part or my part. But then again, first of all, I'm not afraid of white people or black people for that matter. I've been around a little bit. I know what cops can and can't do. And I know first thing you got to do is the only PC I do, people say PC, politically correct. I say the only PC I do is polite and courteous, or professional and courteous. That's the way I'm going to keep it with you. So it's going to be yes officer, no officer. Do you know why I ain't finna be talking too much because I don't talk with cops in situations like that.
I be talking too much.
Yeah, they say don't talk to them because anything you say, it will be used against you.
Again, I'm trying to learn to maneuver more strategically.
Yeah.
I have not been the most strategic,
Right.
and I have been very blessed to stay alive,
Yeah,
because my life has almost ended way too many times
Right.
being in America my first couple of years. But
So I'm sorry to interrupt. I got to go back to this. So how did you get out of this situation with these drug dealers?
we had to get a bigger drug dealer if you watched the
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
It was several things. It clicked to me that I'm not afraid to call the cops. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like only in the movies, and I could be wrong because I didn't grow up here,
Yeah.
you know? So let's put that disclaimer up.
Yeah.
In the movies, that whole snitches get stitches thing,
Yeah.
it clicked to me that I pay taxes.
Yeah.
These people supposed to work for me.
Yeah. This is part of my benefits package.
Exactly. Like, what's the point of this if, I can't use it?
Yeah.
So, one, I wasn't afraid. I decided I wasn't afraid to call the cops. Two, in case things went wrong, I had this other person that everybody was more afraid of. He did prison and everything.
Right.
But he was more family with us than,
Yeah.
like them. But then the third thing was that learning who I was and gaining that confidence. Because growing up the way we grew up, you were taught to respect people. If people do kindness for you, you do kindness back. Mm-hmm. But I think that we were really sheltered, so we didn't really learn when enough was enough.
Right.
That you don't have to give somebody until you die.
Right.
That just because they did one thing for you don't mean that you owe them your soul.
Right.
And so this person helped us, but he was also just a year older than us. He wasn't that old. He knows America.
Right.
And we're impressionable, young, naive people.
Right.
I feel like we were sheep in the lion's den,
You were. Yeah.
And
Certainly
when enough is enough, it's kind of like, a husband that beats his wife, and when she had enough, ain't nothing he could do about it. She either gonna kill him or she gonna run away, I think we just got to the point where enough was enough. And when we told him, we was like, okay, you gotta go, he said, all I wanted was for all y'all to agree. Because me and my sisters, some of us would want him to say, some of them wouldn't. And he used that as leverage,
Oh, yeah.
And because we had beef between us.
Right.
I ain't going to say beef, but when you young, and all of us were about the same age. I was 19. The twins were both 18, and then I had a 16-year-old. Okay? And I'm like the mama.
Yeah.
Okay? But there was so much internal conflict between us because everybody thought they were grown. Everybody thought that they knew better. This was America. You could do what you want. Our parents not here.
Yeah.
But when we finally all had enough and came together, he said, all I wanted was for y'all to agree. And he left.
Huh.
And his brother, I'm going to keep my good words to myself. His brother refused to leave the house.
Okay.
And that's when I realized enough was really enough to me, because I'm in his face, and this man is huge, compared to me, he was huge, looking down at me, telling me he ain't going nowhere, and I'm like, you either gonna leave by yourself, you gonna leave by the cops, or you gonna leave by this other thug,
Right.
one of them. And then his brother called him. This is little brother, by the way. Called him and said, dude, what you still doing at their house? Leave.
Yeah.
And he left. And that was it for us.
Huh. Interesting.
This was God.
Yeah.
It was for real God.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sitting here now.
I know a lot of stories that
Yeah.
it didn't end up like that.
I'm sitting here now. This sounds like a movie. A and B. That could have went so much worse for y'all.
Man. I remember being in a car with him and the other guy. and my sisters, and apparently they were pimps too.
Okay.
And they had one of their hoes in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And she did something. She just said something that pissed them off. And they pulled the car over and kicked her out and threw her $1 and said, call yourself a ride.
Huh.
You know they never treated us like that?
Well, yeah. That's a very interesting dichotomy right there. You know who takes what and who won't take it.
They never treated us like
Yeah.
that. They never got to sleep with none of us.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was a whole different treatment
Yeah.
when it came to us.
Yeah.
And as much as it, like, messed us up emotionally, and, I mean, we grew up a lot from it. We learned America real fast from it.
I bet.
It also, in hindsight, they treated us like who we are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. You know what it reminds me of? I read a story, and we're going to close it down. Nate, how long have we been going, Mr. Nugent?
Searching for the audio.
Uh-huh.
An hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, we're getting to the point. We're going to have to have a part 2.
I knew you was going to say that.
Yeah, because we haven't even got to half the stuff I want to get to.
Yeah.
Your YouTube channel where you're talking about some pretty good stuff, that spirituality. But the story you was telling me, it just reminded me back in the days, I think this really happened, back in Jim Crow in the South, when they would not let black people do any this, that, and the other. There was a cat that came over. He was black. I think he was from Alabama or something, but he went to a new town and changed his persona. He's like, I am Prince Mobutu from Tanzania. And he's dressed like a prince and acted like, and white people in the Jim Crow
Treated
South
him
was
like
like,
that.
oh, well, hell, he a prince. So get the man in a hotel room. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, really? That's what it sounded like happening to y'all. He look at, well, these clearly, well, they not these type.
They knew.
They these type. So
Yeah, they told us. You
Yeah.
could look at us and tell. Anybody who saw us knew we weren't, one, from America, but two, that we weren't supposed to be treated a certain kind of way, you know?
yeah. That man, we're going to have to end it on that. But that right there, you don't have to be treated a certain kind of way. And when people treat you a certain kind of way, how much of that is you letting them?
Because the only reason they did get away with the things that they got away was because we allowed that to happen. Because we didn't know better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, man, I hate to end it. But we're gonna cut it short. But before we do, tell them again about your store, where to find it. Give them that
Okay.
elevator pitch.
Listen here, buddies. Yes, because we're all buddies, okay? Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Our social media is Annor, ANNOR, LLC 123. And I say follow us there because we are a continuously changing business, and we're first and foremost dedicated to our family while serving the public. We have, right now, we're offering name brand clothing and new with tags, name brand clothing for the entire family. Almost the entire store is 1 for $8 or 5 for $35. And every once in a while, you might get an extra item for free, or you're going to find some $2.99 items. If for some reason you find something that's worth $10 or $20, that we sell for that much, be sure that thing is costing $100 or more. That's just who we are. We're here to serve. We're here to give back while we also give to ourselves. So there you go. Follow us and come check us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the lady herself, Shama Ezer, or soon to be Ezer.
Yeah. You know, I might get married again to him just to, to make it official.
Well, if you need a good videographer, no, I'm just like,
For sure.
so man, thank you for stopping by, Shama. It was a pleasure talking to you. I feel like we got I didn't really touch on none of the stuff that this is all background and building up to the stuff, you know what I'm saying? So
I was expecting this though.
Yeah.
I really believe, and again, we're going to end with this, that I know what I come with. And a lot of times once people start talking to me, they want to continue on because it's fun. You learn something. We vibe. These days, I only connect with people that are meaningful.
Right.
God has helped me move all them other people out the way.
Yeah.
So this was bound to happen.
Indeed. next time I'm gonna probably formulate some questions so we can guide the conversation a little more.
Little
It ain't gonna be stilted and academic, but it's gonna be because I got some things that looking at some of your conversations online, I was like, huh, that's deep. Oh, that's deep. Oh, yeah, that's deep. Stuff that I've noticed too that we seem to be on a similar wavelength about. So we'll plot out the next conversation a little better. Yeah. But thank you for stopping by the Focus LBK show. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for noticing when I talked to you that I was, really worth it. I mean, I know I'm worth it, but I appreciate you being one of those people that recognize it.
Well, you sound like one of our former city council members, Sheila Patterson Harris.
I almost brought her up in this conversation.
Okay, how come? We trying to close it out, but you see it.
Because since being in Lubbock, it's not only has it been teaching me humility, but it's been bringing the importance of who I am. Mm-hmm. And you talked about that guy who came and said he was a prince. I grew up in a community. My grandfather is a prince in that community. Right. And though in the world it may not be prince, right, but if I don't carry it like I'm a princess, how is anybody going to know? Yeah. And since I talked to her, I mean, we was at this book club, and we were talking about, I think it was called The First Wives or something. Yeah. I read part of the book. I didn't read all of it, but I read part of the book. But talking to her, she made me recognize how important it is for me to teach my kids just where I come from. Mm-hmm. You run so far from your childhood a lot of times that you forget the great things about it. Mm-hmm. My grandfather's a great prince. My dad is a great man, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them and my mom and stuff, And I tell my kids every day, my daughter, since meeting her, you guys, you ladies are princesses. Yeah. Do you know why? Because your grandfather was a prince. Right. Because your mother is a princess. Right. So you, by blood, are a princess. Yep. So she changed me. And the thing that she used to say that used to catch my ear a lot, she say it's a sorry dog that won't wag his own tail. And that's basically when you say, I know what I come with. That's why I say, well, that reminds me of that. You know what I'm saying? You do got to know your self-worth. You got to know your own intrinsic value. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times, going back to that conversation we had about fear and stuff like that, I think a lot of times we let fear of the unknown, fear, a lack of confidence and all that stuff, I think we let it dull our sense of destiny and what we can do. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You definitely can't do nothing if you think you can't. Right. LBK, we trying to cut this off. We're going to go on and cut it off right there. As you can see, it was an interesting conversation. I hope y'all found it as interesting as I did. If you take issue with something or you had some questions or comments, man, hit us up down in the comment section below. Y'all know how to do it. Dude, stay tuned because we're going to be at the grand opening of Anor LLC over on 34th Street. And we're going to do a little article on that. By the time you see this, the article will already be out. But, man, don't stay tuned. Stop you for coming in the future. Right. Once you see this, come on through. Right. But, hey, thank y'all for tuning in. Lubbock, this is your brother Robert Jenkins from the Focus LBK show. And, shoot, man, we're going to go on and say peace.
Inner visions come to me unbidden, twisting in my mind like a ribbon.